And a good Saturday evening to everyone out there, especially everyone in the great state of Missouri. The Missouri Tigers win 29-20 against South Carolina. This is the Mizzou Central postgame show right here on STL Sports Central. He is Vic Faust, the former Tiger tight end and broadcaster. I'm Chris Pelican. We'll be joined by a whole host of characters tonight as we break down the Tigers' 9-point win in Columbia against the Gamecocks. And Vic, you are doing exactly what I was doing a little while ago too. I mean, it's so funny that we're sitting here talking about this game, and we will talk about this game, and it feels in a lot of ways like a mirror image game of the KU game as well. A game where the Missouri Tigers, dominate statistically, they dominate in time of possession, and yet for some reason, with 5 minutes left in the game, the outcome is still in question. I know this just because I've talked to enough coaches and players. Winning is really hard, especially at this level of college football. So you don't question wins. And we will, but that's what we do in post-game world here. This was a good win, Vic. But again, one of these ones that if we look at this, we look at the stat sheet, we're going to sit here and say, how is this game so close, so late in the game? So that's the good news, the fact that they dominated the game and that they won. But a lot of things that we can probably nitpick a little bit, in a game otherwise that, again, was dominated by the Tigers. Your thoughts on a 29-20 win to christen SEC play for the 2025 Missouri Tigers?
Am I going to upset you if I say I am super happy? I'm super
not
positive.
in the least bit. Not in the least bit. Again, to my point, winning is
Chris,
hard.
This was a big win.
Heck yeah.
And Mizzou did not play their best. So many mistakes in this game, and they still won by 9. Chris, I'm happy as can be. I watched this game with a South Carolina. I can't say what I would call him on our air right now. But, I mean, even this blank gave Missouri respect. And this blank was like, I am so impressed with Missouri. And I'm like, you know what, blank? Missouri is playing not a great game. And he could not believe how good Missouri's offensive line was without Caden Green. And he couldn't believe how good that line was at knocking off South Carolina off. Missouri won the line of scrimmage. They did tonight.
No doubt. Not even debatable.
And if you have 285 yards of rushing and hold an opponent to minus yards, you should be dominating the game. Bo Prabula, interception. Okay, they take it back. They get 7 points in that drive. Another 7-point drive. They could have had an interception on the drive. They dropped the ball. Okay, it happens. Another drive. They jump off sides. So Lenore Sellers throws a ball that, in my humble opinion, can't prove it. He throws a touchdown pass. Okay, great. I legitimately think 21 points for South Carolina was given by Missouri to them. I am happy as hell, Chris. I am so excited with this team. This was not the best Missouri football you're going to see when it comes to the points, but they won the game. They ended up winning by 9 points. You missed an extra point, and you still had an opportunity to freaking win this game. They didn't, like you said, we're going to talk about things that Missouri could have done better. But Chris, I'm excited. Missouri won a game that they could have been better at. And an SEC opponent with Sellers, who's a damn good quarterback, they still beat them. And Missouri was not at their best tonight. But you know what we've been talking about, Chris? You win your points. You win your elevation. You win your next thing. They won their first game. Okay, we saw what they could do. Then they beat Kansas. Okay, they jumped up. Then they beat a team like they should have. Now they beat an SEC team. Now we're like, okay, they continue to get the job done. Chris, they're 4-0. That's what I'm excited about.
And Vic, we talked about this, again, like let's rewind 6 weeks, and we sit here and we say this was going to be the first true test. We were going to know whether this team is a legitimate playoff contender when South Carolina comes to town. Now, granted, none of us expected South Carolina to go to Nashville and get demolished by Vanderbilt. I say that right as a proud South Carolina alum, Hannah Barton, jumps onto the program right now. We welcome you, and I want to throw this out to you first and foremost. We're talking about the South Carolina team that came into Columbia tonight, and the funny thing that I'll say at least about preseason prognostications is a lot of times I know they mean absolutely nothing, but this South Carolina team is good regardless of what happened last week in Nashville. Lenora Sellers was on everyone's Heisman list. I still think this was probably a top 5 NFL draft pick of March. He played a nice game today. There was, we were all crying about Caden Green being injured with Mizzou. I think South Carolina was down 2 starting offensive linemen today, which led to this. But just from the perspective of the South Carolina side, Hannah, I'm curious your thoughts on where you think the Gamecocks are coming into this game, what you thought about the way they played against Mizzou, and then as Vic said, he watched the game with a South Carolina fan, and that fan could not sort of contain basically the praise for the way Missouri played in this thing. So turn it over to you, Hannah. What do you got?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, congratulations. The trophy is going back to Columbia, Missouri, so happy for you guys on that one. But yeah, I think that after the game against Vanderbilt last weekend, there were some concerns, and obviously the main concern was around having a healthy Lenora Sellers. I've been pretty outspoken all week that not only was that a concern for me, but I was concerned about our defense because, in my opinion, our defense is what really let the momentum fade, or I guess build for Vanderbilt, but then fade for us, not let it continue, especially with the Sellers injury. So when I saw we had a healthy Lenora Sellers, I felt good that our offense would be able to generate some of what it needed. However, then you throw in the offensive line piece, and you mentioned having 2 of the starting offensive linemen out. Kason Henry's out. You have Boaz Stanley shift from center in order to compensate for that, and then the offensive line is getting beat up throughout the game, and obviously not giving Lenoris what is needed for him to fully be Lenoris. I mean, the bottom line, I mean, the rushing game kind of speaks for itself, or the lack thereof. I mean, your negative rushing yards, especially when you're going up against an offense in Missouri that has Ahmad Hardy running quite literally all over you, being picked up, putting his feet back on the ground, and still able to run and get into the end zone. I mean, those are the type of things that can't happen. I think that there was aspects of Missouri's game that where they beat South Carolina, specifically in creating a run game for Mizzou offensively and then not letting South Carolina generate a run game. But I think South Carolina also beat themselves in a lot of areas. I mean, the penalties is uncalled. I mean, you can't happen. You can't have penalties like that happen, especially at a game like this when you knew it was going to be close. You knew it was going to be a must-win game. And yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing was sloppy football and not allowing Lenoris to be Lenoris with our offensive line struggling and kind of hanging on by a thread.
Yeah, Tigers win 29-20 over the South Carolina Gamecocks tonight. And Howard Richards was on the call. He joins us now in our Brady Bunch themed square opening here. But Howard, I mean, there's a lot to jump into, a lot to digest with this game. There's a million ways we can look at this thing. You're 20 minutes away from calling the game. What are your thoughts? What stood out to you about the way that this game went down?
Well, certainly it was a hard-fought battle. Can you guys hear me okay? Just wanted
to
make sure.
Gotcha.
Okay. Hard-fought battle. Really pleased with the way this team played, and especially in the fourth quarter, but in the second half, against a worthy opponent. Listen, South Carolina is a better football team than they have shown thus far this season. Coming into the game, even though Lenora Sellers was probable, I just had my concerns about what kind of condition he really was in. That said, and this may have rang true because I thought there were some decisions that he made with the football that he probably shouldn't have, and got away with a number of them. Should have gotten rid of the ball on a couple of times. He took some sacks he shouldn't have taken, which is what enabled Mizzou to come away with 5 sacks. But he still made plays. I mean, he's a really good player. The Mizzou secondary, I think, is still having issues with communication. Safety's late getting over the top in order to make plays. Too many big plays. But listen, that defensive front only allowing the Gamecocks -9 yards rushing. This may be the only time in history that Mizzou has allowed an opponent under, for negative yards rushing in a season. So that's pretty impressive. I think it's the first time it's been done in SEC play since Mizzou's been in the SEC.
You're right, Howard. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
But listen, Ahmad Hardy doing his thing. He's not going to get 250 every time he runs the ball in the SEC play, but still, I mean, he's that dude. He's what you want. This is why he's on the roster this year. And kudos to the Mizzou brass for going out and finding him. Mike Kelly thinks Ahmad Hardy may be the best running back since Devin West. I was traveling the world during that time. Didn't get to see Devin West a lot. I know he had great numbers. But listen, Ahmad Hardy is he is a very special player. But that 1-2 punch with Jamal Roberts, who's had an outstanding game as well. Bo Perbula made some plays when he needed to. But maybe the unsung player on this offense would be Javen Richardson, started at left tackle in place of Caden Green.
Thank you, Howard. I was going to say it.
Yeah, he only one bad play that I noticed. He had a lot of little pressure, didn't give up a sack, but immediately after the game, Coach Trinkwitz ran to midfield and double high-five Jaden Richardson. That says a lot to a guy that was thrown into a difficult situation against some good pass rushers.
He is former Tiger All-American Howard Richards and current member of the radio play-by-play team. We've got Vic Faust, former Tiger tight end and broadcaster, and Hannah Barton live from Columbia, South Carolina. And this is the Mizzou Central Postgame Show right here on STL Sports Central. And the Mizzou Central Postgame Show is brought to you by our business banking partners at Home Bank. From business lending to everyday banking, Home Bank has been with us since day one as a trusted partner. Business is not just about numbers, it's about relationships. And with Home Bank, these relationships make all the difference. Home Bank is the team is the team behind our team at STL Sports Central. Visit myhomebank.com, myhomebank.bank, or call 855-577-2001. Home Bank, member FDIC, more than a bank. They're your business partner. And guys, one of the things that we're doing with Home Bank is to talk about the money moment of the game. And just curious from each of you, and Howard, I'll start with you. If we can break down a moment in this game that you believe that was the Home Bank money moment of the game, let me know what you think that was.
I'd say the touchdown by Jamal Roberts, which sort of put the Tigers ahead, by 6 points.
Absolutely,
if I have it correctly, right? That was the one.
Yeah,
26-20.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought that was the one that that gave the Tigers much more breathing room, and I knew obviously we needed to get another score in the form of a field goal or touchdown to make it a 2-score game. But that was, to me, the play that I think made the difference in this game and maybe sort of turn the lights, or at least dim the lights, on Carolina's hopes.
Vic?
I hate to be boring, but it was the same darn play.
Absolutely.
It was that play. Or we go to the next drive when Mizzou stopped South Carolina on third down. But I'm telling you right now, that was the play. What a great game by Missouri in regards to just continuing to fight. And as Howard said earlier, this Missouri team didn't play a great game, but they continued to fight. And this is the kind of win that can do them a lot of good moving forward, because Missouri did not play their best game. They were not error-free football tonight. But somehow, some way, this team last week, we're going to hold our opponent to 4 yards passing. This week, we're going to hold our opponent, an SEC opponent, who last week was ranked 11th, to minus yardage. There's a lot of really good things happening with this football team. And that gets me excited, because tonight they were not their best, and they still won by 9 points. And now we get to see Missouri against UMass. And, of course, we know what happens after a bye week with Alabama.
Hannah, what do you think? The perspective from South Carolina.
I mean, I hate to make it 3 for 3, but I would agree with that. And then kind of honorable mentions, I would say the couple times where it was 3rd and long already for South Carolina. And Mizzou was able to come in and get the sack against Lenora Sellers. I think anytime they were able to sack Sellers was honestly a huge. I mean, when you do it 5 times, it's going to really shift the momentum of the game. So those would be my honorable mentions for sure. Especially when you got it to what they were at, like 3rd and 30 something at one
They're
point. I mean,
37.
Picked up
that's when as a
33 on the
fan,
play.
and I wish I could say that we hadn't seen that recently, but we saw the same thing last week against Vanderbilt. So I think those are one of those moments where you kind of start to feel your heart sink a little bit. Anytime you see 3rd and a 3 next to it in terms of the yardage, 30 something, it doesn't seem good. So that's my honorable mention, but I would agree with the touchdown as well to put Mizzou up by 6. That was when I kind of started to feel the hope fade a little bit for sure.
Well, and there was the big kick by Rob Meyer to put Mizzou up
Yes.
29-20. After missing or doinking and a point after touchdown, for Drink to come back to him and show confidence and allow him to kick the field goal that put Mizzou up 2 scores. It's big for him, kind of redeemed himself after the missed PAT. So a lot of big moments, a lot of areas that need to be corrected. And you've got essentially, listen, I'm not overlooking UMass, but you have 3 weeks to prepare for Alabama at home. So lots of opportunities to work and get better before the meat of your schedule hits.
There's Chris. I wanted to ask Howard, who would have thought 4 games into this season, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm just losing my mind, but that our weakness would kind of be our secondary. I never, ever, ever thought that in regards to quote weakness, and weakness may be low on a scale of 1 to 10, but early on, we were getting dashed by South Carolina. They even took the ball, Howard, first, and I went, whoa. That tells you that they really think, number one, that they're going to have success against our defense, and number 2, they're trying to set the tone.
I could not have said it better, Vic. You see it exactly the way I see it. And I think it's not about ability. These guys are very talented. I think it's about the communication. On a lot of those big plays, you see players looking to each other like, "Hey, what's going on here? I thought you were supposed to be here." So if you clean that up, and it could be in the zone coverages where they've had the most difficulty this year. If you end up playing more man defense, I think you'll give your team, your secondary, much more confidence. But they've got to figure out a way to simplify things in the secondary.
Couldn't agree more. And just to wrap things up, the money moment of the game is brought to you by Home Bank, the team behind our team at STL Sports Central. Visit myhomebank.bank or call 855-577-2001. Got to get that tag in there. So you talked about the secondary a little bit, Howard, and I wanted to jump on that a little bit because there were peeps throughout the course of the first 3 games that maybe the secondary was going to be a weakness with this team. And I couldn't have disagreed more because in my estimation, early on, we saw sort of a lack of pass rush with the team. And, I don't care how many All-Americans you have in the secondary. If a quarterback has 5-7 seconds to throw, they're going to find somebody eventually. Tonight was the first night, and you mentioned the breakdowns. And I think Corey Batoon deserves a lot of credit for having a good game plan to get pressure on Sellers today. I thought it was the first time that they made a concerted effort beyond just rushing, kind of their base 4 in order to get back there. You talked about the secondary a little bit, but I guess maybe more of a holistic answer, question about the defense in general. Do you like where they're at? Do you think that you're seeing what you need to see from all 3 levels, from the line, from the linebackers, and the secondary, for this to be the kind of team that when Alabama rolls into town in 3 weeks is going to make it to where, they're going to make life tough on Ty Simpson, and Ryan Williams will not have 200 yards receiving that day. What do you feel about the unit as a whole at this point?
Collectively, no, not happy. I'm not disappointed, but again, we haven't gotten hurt, at least from a win-loss standpoint. We're able to win those games, in spite of the mistakes. So I think, again, whether it's simplifying the things that are making it more difficult, because you can clearly see the communication problems, guys getting over it, safeties arriving late to the ball on double coverage. And even just from a technique standpoint, a lot of the deep balls, the defenders are not getting their heads around often enough to locate the football to try to defend it, right? Those things concern me as well from a technique standpoint. Those things, to me, as you get deeper into SEC play, have to be cleaned up. But listen, I've been pleased with the linebacker play, especially by Jeremiah Trotter. The inside tackles played much, much better.
Yes.
We saw much more push up the middle. And again, certainly in the run game, that matters. So that statistic speaks for itself. So I think, KU may have been the most disappointing game from the defensive line standpoint. They just could not get pressure. That said, I think they've been able to recover. And today, again, 5 sacks. Norris Sellers is a good player. He's going to make plays from the quarterback position. But to affect Sellers the way that they did this evening was pretty impressive by the defensive front.
He is former Tigers All-American and current Tiger broadcaster Howard Richards. We also have Hannah Barton live from Columbia, South Carolina. We've got Howard for a few more minutes before we set him on his way back to the homeland here in St. Louis. But wanted to get a couple more thoughts from you, Howard, on this team at this point in time. We haven't even said the name Bo Prabula yet, and I felt for the first time, and just your thoughts on it, that the way that Kirby Moore worked his Bo Prabula's legs into the game plan. This is, I thought, sort of what we were all expecting. I mean, he dazzled with his arm over the course of the first 3 games of the season, and tonight the arm was good for the most part. Missed a couple of passes. I think maybe would have liked to see him hit, but the way that the design runs, which is basically what all he did at Penn State for the last couple of years, worked into the equation tonight, seemed to be a really, we just basically, I think we're seeing what we all expected Bo Prabula to be. Your thoughts on the way the Tiger quarterback played tonight?
Yeah, it wasn't perfect. I mean, he was only completed 59% of his passes. Statistically, maybe his worst day as a Tiger. But again, using his legs, again, making decisions, critical decisions at key points to run the football and pick up chunk yards. It just shows you how multidimensional he is. His decision making is good. Yeah, every quarterback's going to make mistakes. We saw Lenore Sellers, who was maybe one of the front runners for the Heisman. He made a lot more mistakes this evening than Bo Prabula did. And some of that is not necessarily attributed to him. I think a lot of it's attributed to, his guys up front that forced him into bad situations. But Prabula did enough to get his team to engineer those drives down there. So listen, I still like what he has given us thus far. Those balls that were in the hands of receivers so quickly. He has been a really good find for Mizzou, along with Ahmad Hardy. I'm happy where we are offensively, even though I don't think we are playing at our very best offensively either. So that's at least hopeful for the future of this team. A team that I know can get better, even though we're in SEC play.
Howard, last thought, just a closing thought from the press box tonight. They're 4-0. This was the game that everyone circled as the fork in the road moment for this team. Are they going to be a postseason contender, or are they going to be just another also-ran in the SEC? I don't know that we're 1,000% convinced of anything at this point in time with this team. Having said that, your 30,000-foot view as the Tigers are improved to 4-0 with a nice win tonight against South Carolina.
Yeah, I like where we are. Again, mistakes that need to be cleaned up, but very few teams out here are playing perfect football. What I like is they've been able to bounce back even when they've faced a deficit. They've been able to come from behind, played well in the fourth quarter, and when the game has when you've needed someone to make a play, whether it's offense or defense, guys have stepped up. And I think that is a direct result of the culture that Eli Drinkwitz has built. And knowing that you can't play a perfect game, but you have guys from all over different positions that are making plays to help you win football games.
He is Howard Richards, the former Tigers All-American and current voice of the Tigers, along with Mike Kelly in the broadcast booth. Howard, thanks always for your insight, my friend. Get on the road, be safe on your way home, and we'll look forward to catching up with you next week against UMass.
Sounds good, Chris.
All right.
Hannah, nice talking to you as well.
You too.
Take care, Howard. All right, Hannah, while I've got you here as well, we've had a few questions in the chat pop up. One of them specifically referencing your thoughts on where Shane Beamer is right now with this team. You know, the question we got from Jeff, Hannah, do you think that this game puts enough heat on Beamer that he makes a change with the O-line coach at this point in time? I know there's heat coming on Beamer at this point in time himself. Do you think we're at that phase where he's going to start looking at his staff and saying, a head has to roll at some point in time? What do you think?
I don't think not yet. And I'm always someone that is always going to gravitate more towards the side of letting things play out. I'm a very big proponent in not jumping the gun when it comes to coaching and coaching staff changes, just because, you know, it's same thing with transfers and bringing transfers in, coaching staff changes. It always takes an adjustment. I think with this offensive line, it's a little bit tricky because we knew, and I say we, I mean Gamecock football fans and those that follow the program, knew our offensive line was going to look different this year. And I think that now you throw in kind of the wrenches that we've seen with the injuries, shifting our center to left tackle and that kind of thing. I don't think there's been enough of a consistency across the offensive line to get a fair assessment of what the coach has truly been able to do. I think the real test is going to be as we move through these next few games, is he able to take these adjustments that are being made and make it work? You know, are we going to continue to see improvement as things have had to be shifted around? Because there's going to become a point where, you know, okay, this guy's going to be out for a couple weeks. We know this guy's going to be the next man up. And how are you coaching those kids to be ready to come in and take over when necessary? And so I wouldn't say I'm like I said, I'm not someone, I don't believe in jumping the gun when it comes to coaching staff changes, just because, especially when you're middle of the season, early on in the season, that's going to do more harm than good. So.
And I'm just curious to kind of wrap it up before we let you roll. Your thoughts on Beamer as an entire product at this point in time. I know there were a lot of expectations this year. It seems like they're not being met at this point in time. Do you think Shane Beamer is long for the road in Columbia, the other Columbia?
I think it's hard to tell right now. I, in my heart of hearts, wants to say that Beamer's going to be okay, because personally I've enjoyed having him in Columbia. I think that he's done a lot through his first few seasons. I mean, his record is up there with Spurrier when it comes to the amount of wins he's been able to get to in his first few seasons. And so I think a lot of it's going to come to what can they do moving forward. It definitely doesn't look good right now, but you got Kentucky, you got Kentucky at home. Okay. So that's a good bounce back game. And then you go to LSU and, yeah, there's not much more to say on that one, but I think right now, I think Gamecock fans, I think Shane Beamer and his staff are truly taking it one game at a time. I saw a question just pop up that says, will the Gamecocks get bowl eligible? I sure hope so. I think so. I think they will. I think one of the thing that is the only good thing maybe in our favor right now is that that game we normally play at the very end of the season against the other team in the upstate is looking like it could really swing in South Carolina's favor right now. So, you know, it's never a good day when the Gamecocks lose, but it always makes it a little bit better when Clemson loses too. So.
Well, we'll let you roll on that note. Hannah Barton of STL Sports Central, thanks so much for all of your help today. Love the perspective, and we look forward to chatting with you again real soon.
Thanks, guys. Good night.
All right. So, Vic, we're back to the shoot. Oh, here comes the boxes just keep flying at us fast and furious.
Well,
we're going to Columbia now. Grant Sales jumping in, just getting done with Coach Drinkwitz's press conference. Is that correct, Grant?
Yeah, I just got done with drinking for Beulah. Had to leave before Hardy, but Kylie's in there right now getting the scoop.
Okay, good stuff.
It was excited, Elijah Drinkwitz, but the biggest piece of news was he said Caden Green underwent a minor procedure, minor surgery, and he will be out. He said his timeline was 3 to 5 weeks, nothing major, he said. So I guess the hope is he's out for UMass. Oh, well, he's out for the bye week. Maybe you get him back by Bama. It's up in the air. So the timeline was he gets hurt on Wednesday. Thursday, he goes through the walkthrough, full participant. Friday, he said, or Thursday at evening, he says something's still wrong. Surgery happens Friday morning.
Grant, did they talk about a body part?
They did not, but I would say sources tell me it's a knee.
It sounds like a meniscus to me.
Yeah,
Sources
maybe
tell me it's a
little
meniscus.
cleanup, little scoop.
I've heard that it is a meniscus injury.
Yeah, it's you
Sources
know what?
reporting.
Unfortunately, I know somebody close to me who's gone through some meniscuses, and the problem is, yeah, it'll knock you out. But the good thing is the fact that he could respond in like 5 to 7 weeks, in my humble opinion.
Well,
he says 3 to 5, so we'll see.
He's also 21 and a high level athlete, Vic. So I mean, this is
there's some really good peptides out there. I'll just say that.
Boy, oh boy, look at Vic Faust drug dealer here. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, and Grant, thanks for breaking the news. And that's a huge thing. Did Howard Richards just left the program, but he pointed out, and I'm sure you may have noticed this at the end of the game, before Drink goes over to shake Shane Beamer's hand, he finds Javen Richardson and gives him a high 10. I mean, did Drink talk a little bit about Javen Richardson's, the game he played today, and just talk about being thrown into a tough situation, at the last minute? South Carolina's defensive line before the season started was considered to be one of the better ones out there. And lo and behold, Javen Richardson, you didn't hear his name a ton tonight, which is a great thing for an offensive lineman.
Yeah, going up against Dylan Stewart a lot of the night, a potential first-round pick, second-round pick, draft pick this year in the 2026 draft. He just was high on Javen the whole conference, talking about how, in the spring, he's the starting tackle. In the summer, he's the starting tackle. 3 weeks of fall camp, he's the starting tackle. Then he said he kind of gets screwed. We make the tough decision to move Green out. And now, though, he said he was a professional. He comes in, he works, first guy in, last guy out type thing. And he's even the swing tackle. So he learns a whole new position. He can play left and right tackle now, obviously subbing in this week. And Drink said he handled it like a true professional, and that's why he was so ready to play, because he bought in, has the elite edge, and it helped the Tigers win today.
He did. Grant, that's great. Chris, he really did. And you know what? If he had a bad game, you would hear about it. He would be giving up sacks. He would be giving up pressures, and he didn't. And that was another really good sign for Mizzou's football team tonight in regards to getting that win. He was not one of the minuses tonight. He was actually an equal or a positive.
Grant, I'm curious if Drink, again, great win tonight. I mean, obviously, South Carolina came in with Lenora Sellers, which was a little bit of a surprise to some late in the week. And they still dominate this game from a statistical standpoint, probably closer than it needed to be. Did Drink touch on any of the negatives? We've talked a little about the secondary. We've talked a little bit about some of those sort of things. I mean, was he basically just all rainbows, puppy dogs, and ice cream tonight, or did he talk about anything that maybe he would have liked to see different?
Yeah, he touched twice on the secondary. He said that he's going to watch some film this morning and definitely get on, or tomorrow morning, and get on some secondary coaches' butts, because that has to be fixed. He was frustrated that through 4 games, you think of the Kansas game and this, Missouri dominates on the yard. They dominate on the stat sheet. They dominate on the box score, and they're not dominating on the scoreboard like they should be. Big passes, wide open guys. And Sellers missed some guys, too. And
yeah, he did.
With Daniels, too. Now, granted, on a couple of those with Sellers, he had some pressure in his face, not these throws. But Drink was pretty upset, and he says that he was trying not to be negative, but he was upset with how the back end was playing, and I don't know what it is. I think Drinks noted it to maybe some eyes playing tricks on you, that you're looking in the backfield, you're looking for the runner, and they're going too far in, and they're not covering their guys, getting a little lost in coverage. I don't know what it is.
Vic?
Oh, yeah, I'd love to talk on it. Here's the thing. When you're a safety, when you're a cornerback, you have specific reads. You have specific assignments. There's no reason for you to be looking in the backfield. Here's the issue. Missouri's defensive line has come up. They've done very well. The linebackers have played very well. The secondary, for the most part, has played well. But in those third and long and those third downs, Missouri has not done well. It's those third and longs. And for whatever reason, what Grant was just talking about with Eli saying, well, they're looking here, they're looking there. I promise you right now, there is no reason for that. They can clean it up really fast. That's what gets me excited, not for UMass after a bye week when they play Alabama, because Missouri can get so much better very easily because right now they're dominating the line of scrimmage. And when you dominate the line of scrimmage, you're going to win most of the games. Their secondary is going to catch up. Drink will catch up, and I believe in him. I watched the game with a South Carolina fan tonight, guys, and he said it drove them crazy, him and his fan base, that Eli Drinkwitz has been
They
as
hate
good of
him.
a coach that he has been. They hate
him.
it. And I'm like, you guys have Beamer. I'm like, are you kidding me? That guy's a tool. I've got 2 words for you. John Gruden. You guys need to fire Beamer and hire John Gruden. John Gruden wants an SEC job. We've got Eli Drinkwitz. I could not be any more excited about Eli Drinkwitz being our head coach and how he has handled this coaching staff. Because even tonight, when they didn't play their best football, they made a lot of mistakes, guys. Missouri made a lot of mistakes, and they still won that game by 9 points against South Carolina. And Sellers, even though he couldn't run, he was really good throwing the football. Missouri still won that game by 9 points.
Absolutely did. Grant, we're I see you walking. I see you making your moves here. So I'll go ahead and give you your chance. Give me your closing thoughts from Faroe Field.
Yeah, and I wanted to touch on, you give up that 3rd and 37. You give up 33 yards on it, I think. Give them a manageable.
4th
They
and
don't
4.
go for
Yep.
it. They get a field goal, though. But Vic, I agree with you. I think a lot of it is mindset and the talent's there. But if I'm South Carolina, Nick Harbor was the best player on that field. He was better than any DB. I don't care what you did. They could not cover Nick Harbor. And for some reason, they did not throw it up to him every single time. So that is my worry a little bit, is as you go and you face your Ryan Williams and other elite SEC receivers down the line, is I think they're out-talented. Especially in corner. Toriano Pride has been bad. And he was bad last year in pass coverage, and he hasn't been great this year. He's been getting beat. And you got to find something there, how you can slow down number ones.
Good
Fair
point.
enough. Fair enough. Well, Grant Salzman, we appreciate the breaking news on Caden Green. We appreciate all the other insight from Faroe Field. We'll let you get rolling. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll look forward to talking to you again next week, my friend.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Vic.
All right.
You
See
got
you,
it,
Grant.
buddy. That's a great point.
It is. Vic, I got a read to make. All right. We got to pay the bills. All right. This is the Mizzou Central Postgame Show, and it is sponsored by DraftKings. Missouri, get ready. The wait is almost over. DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is coming soon to the Show Me State, and you can sign up today. New Missouri customers can get $300 in bonus bets when we launch on December 1st. Download now and place a $5 bet when we go live. DraftKings Sportsbook brings you everything you need to elevate your game day, including live in-game betting, lightning-fast payouts, and endless ways to get in on the action, all right from your phone. And when we officially go live in Missouri, you'll be betting with the Sportsbook app trusted by millions. Safe, secure, and has fast money withdrawals. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the code STL Sports to grab $300 in bonus bets with just a $5 bet when we go live on December 1st. That's code STL Sports in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER, 21 plus, physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Excludes customers who redeem pre-launch sign-up offers. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. And again, the Tigers win tonight 29-20 over South Carolina to improve to 4-0. And Vic, chatting a little bit about the secondary. And it's funny because, Grant, a fairly critical opinion of Toriano Pride, who I don't know if he's been as bad as Grant maybe alludes to. You've got a very veteran group back there. This is not, you don't have much youth, to be honest with you. You've got guys who've been around and a lot of starts in their collegiate careers, from Dre Norwood to, to Catalan to, Dalen Carnell started for 3 years here at this point in time. So, it just, and I want to echo Howard's thing. You noticed on, I think it was their second touchdown, that it was clearly some element of they thought maybe cover 2 and the safety wasn't over the top. And they're looking at each other, and it's one of these deals where that shouldn't happen, should it, at this level? if Nick Harbor beats you because he's 6'5" and runs a 4.29 40 and jumps over you, then fine, right? Like you tip
but
your
that
cap.
wasn't the case.
That it's these breakdowns. I mean, what do? You played at the collegiate level. When things like that are happening, that are just breakdowns, that are mental problems, communication problems, where does the coaching staff go?
Well, first of all, great point, Chris, and I'm glad you brought it up. Number one, from that standpoint, these kids are coached, and I call them kids still. They're coached to do the right thing. They know what to do. I'm still not saying this is a coaching situation because the coaches coach it. And then you say, well, it's not on the kids. It's a coaching standpoint. These kids know. Those breakdowns were so basic and easy. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Missouri was very fortunate tonight, Chris, as you know, on 2 different plays where there could have been touchdowns, could have been 2 more touchdowns. That wasn't. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. This is a major, major situation. But the other thing that's so weird for me is they have experience. They have extreme depth at their safeties, at their corners. They have a lot of guys that play and a lot of good guys. But every now and then for 2 straight games, we have seen breakdowns. There's no doubt about it. Could that hurt them later? Yeah, it could. But at the same point in time, I'm looking at it going, what I saw tonight, Chris, and I don't know, maybe you might disagree, maybe you might agree. It was the 3rd down. On 3rd down is where they got hit. So I'm like, okay, why is that happening? This team is too good. And I'm looking at this from a positive standpoint where I still think those mistakes are mistakes that can be corrected. They're not physical mistakes. They're not, as you said, Chris, they're not mistakes that can't be corrected. So I'm like, okay, we have a Missouri team that's 4-0, and they're going to be 5-0 after UMass. I'm just telling you. Not that they're just going to go to the field and sit there and go, oh, we're going to win. Chris, they're going to be 5-0. And they're going to be 5-0, and they're going to have a week off, and then they're going to host Alabama. And there's still a possibility of College Game Day and ESPN coming to Columbia. There is. So I'm like, they can make those adjustments. They can. The defensive line has stepped up. And tonight I counted 3, maybe 4 holding penalties on South Carolina that were not called. That should have been called. Maybe I'm looking at it from a Homer black and gold standpoint, whatever. But those were holds that were not called. And then I'm looking at our linebackers, and our linebackers played their arse off tonight. They played very well, in my humble opinion, even though
your guy, Nicholas Rodriguez. Wow. He was all over the field tonight. He is a player.
He is a player, isn't he? And he held, and I know Lenore Sellers wasn't running the football tonight. We saw a Sellers tonight that was mostly throwing the football, not wanting any contact. You saw that, Chris, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
He didn't want contact. He did not want any head contact. He was told, do not take any hits in your upper body. And I get that. And trainers and coaches will tell you that because they knew South Carolina had 0 chance with their backup. Even though their backup is all right, it's not Linnell Sellers. Sellers is a damn good player who showed you tonight that he can throw the football. He threw the football very well at times. He did.
302 yards.
But he didn't run the football like he normally does. He was running out of bounds. It was completely different. So that's what gets me excited about Missouri is the fact that they did what they had to do. They won again. They're 4-0. We can nitpick all of this stuff, but the bottom line is, let's look at this. They are rushing the football. They are stopping the run. And what does everybody say? Grade school, high school, college, NFL. If you run the football and you stop the run, you're going to win football games. It just works out, whatever the reason. And that's what Missouri's doing right now.
I'm curious your thoughts. They have certainly run the football as well as any team in the country for the first 4 games. Again, I assume that UMass will be another Ahmad Hardy 200-yard game, probably sitting by the 3rd quarter. Alabama comes into town after a bye. Do you think that this Missouri offense can run the ball against an Alabama defensive line, which year in and year out has 4 first-round draft picks on it? It'll be the stiffest challenge they have, maybe this side of Texas A&M. But do you believe that what we see, that this zone scheme and this rhinoceros named Ahmad Hardy, who just does not get tackled, is he going to be, do we think by the time it's all said and done against Alabama that we see yet another 100-yard game? Or is that the game where he's, 14 carries for 35 yards? I mean, do you think that as we sit here today, that Missouri's going to be able to run the ball the way they do against Alabama?
I do. I do. I know. I do. And here's why. South Carolina's D line is very good.
It is good.
Have you seen South Carolina's recruiting over the past 8 years? South Carolina recruits very well. And those guys, they're dudes. When you show up and you walk on the field as I have, those guys are big, they're strong, and they're every bit as good and big as Alabama. Yes, I do believe Missouri can do that. Even without Caden Green tonight, Chris, no Caden Green. And what did they do? They ran the freaking football and they controlled the line of scrimmage against South Carolina. If they can do it against South Carolina, they can do it against Alabama. I watched Florida State move the ball on Alabama, and I'm telling you right now, Missouri can do it against Alabama. No doubt in my mind. No doubt, Chris, that they have the talent to do it. Now, would it help to have Caden Green back? Yeah. Will he be back? I don't know. But tonight, I'm telling you what, they did pretty good without Caden Green.
They did. They did. And I think we didn't say his name tonight, but Brandon Jones, it's just hard not to be a fan of the way he coaches that offensive line. And we do see it. Howard pointed it out. You pointed it out early in the season. His lines just get better and better. And we continue to see that with this group. There's no two ways about it. I'm curious as we sort of start to wrap things up for our program tonight. We are still 3 weeks away from Missouri playing against Alabama. What do you think that point spread looks like?
Ooh. Would I be crazy to say Missouri by 3?
Yes, you would, I think. But that it's an interesting, and again, let's keep in mind a couple of things.
But Chris, I didn't look at who does Alabama play the week before. Can somebody look that up? Because I did not look that up. And forgive me for not looking that up. But they don't have a bye before Missouri. They play somebody.
Yeah,
I remember.
Yeah, just so you're aware. So they've got Georgia coming up next weekend. They have got Vandy the week after that. That game is at home, and then they're at Mizzou. So they're at Georgia, home against Vandy, at Mizzou on the 11th for that lovely 11 a.m. start.
But you know what? I love that because here's the thing. Vanderbilt, even on the road, Vanderbilt's a very good team with a 6th-year quarterback who's a winner and a leader and has Vanderbilt believing that they can win games. I love that because Alabama's going to have to play their best game against Vanderbilt. And Vanderbilt's line, and I always look at lines, Chris, you know that. I look at the offensive line and the defensive line first, always and ever. Look at the
games are won.
Offensive and defensive line. Vanderbilt is better than they were last year. They may not be great, but they are better. And everybody looks at, Diego Pavia. Yes, he is a winner and he is a leader. But they have lines. They do. They have lines at work. This is not your Alabama from years ago. It's not. I'm not saying that Alabama's dead, but I'm telling you, Alabama is not what they were before. They're good. They're good. They're very, very good. But Missouri can play with anybody. And the fact that they did what they did tonight against South Carolina, Chris, the way that they pushed around that South Carolina D line, which is big and strong and fast and athletic, and they had 4-star and 5-star guys, Missouri pushed them around. And I'm like, okay, this is a very good thing. I know it was only a 9-point win, but Chris, I was very excited about the win tonight because so many things went wrong. Prbula had a bad interception. We didn't even talk about it yet. Our defense dropped not 1, but 2 interceptions on drives that ended up being touchdowns. Linebackers that had the ball like this in their hands that dropped the ball. A penalty on a jumping off sides where Sellers threw the ball up and it was a touchdown. I'm talking about 21 points tonight that Missouri gave to South Carolina. Somebody may agree with me, somebody may disagree, but 21 points that we gave South Carolina or 20 points. Missouri looked very good. And that's why I'm excited. There's so much good happening with this team and so much better that can still happen. And we didn't really throw the ball down the field tonight, Chris.
No,
We
not at
didn't.
all.
Not at all. And
Just
that's
wasn't part of
still
the game
there.
plan. Yeah.
And it was gosh, Chris, great point. It seemed like it was part of the game plan where, you know what? We're going to muscle you. We're going to knock you off the line of scrimmage. And remember the SEC. Oh, to win the SEC, you got to have big, strong offensive, defensive line. And who are the bullies in the SEC right now? It's
Your Missouri
Missouri.
Tigers.
Go
There's
figure.
no two ways about it. No two ways about it. Talking about Alabama, though, a little bit more, too, and our friend and producer extraordinaire Joe Roderick pointed out, it is a somewhat, I don't say a good possibility, but it is possible that Alabama would come into Columbia on a 2-game losing streak. The Georgia game's going to be tough. The Vandy game certainly will be tough as well. You think they win that game, but you never know. Vandy's got a few scalps on their wall at this point in time. But I'm thinking about this, and again, we're just kind of playing this thing out a little bit. Could the legend of Mizzou, this is where coaches come to lose their jobs. If they lose a third straight game, Alabama to Mizzou in Columbia in 3 weeks, do we think Kalen DeBoer is the latest and greatest casualty of a Mizzou loss to lose his job?
He'll be gone.
At three losses in a row, he'd be gone, huh?
3 out, no doubt. Chris, great point. He would be. I think that they would already be looking or signing their new coach if they lost 2, not 3, to Vanderbilt. I don't care that Diego Pavia is a 6-year guy who's playing on extended time, whom, by
He's
the way,
36 years old.
Did you hear his attorney is now talking about applying or suing, quote, the NCAA for a 7th year because his second JUCO year should not count against him? Yeah.
Needless to say, Diego Pavia will be playing quarterback.
He's making $3 million a year. He's dating Tate McRae, the country music star. Life is good, and he lives in Nashville. Of course, he'd want to stay. But we're getting back to Alabama. Yeah, of course, I do. I think that Kalen DeBoer would be gone. Alabama doesn't know what hit them right now, and I don't care if they've lost 1 in a row, 2 in a row, 3 in a row, or if they've won other games. If they come to Mizzou, I still like our chances from what I saw tonight because Missouri is a team that dominates the line of scrimmage, Chris. I really do. We made a lot of mistakes tonight, and I can't see Missouri making that many more mistakes and giving up opportunities that they did tonight, and they still won by 9.
Kind of a closing thought, Vic, and we'll talk a little bit more about tonight's game just on the way out, but I'm curious your thoughts. So here we are 4 weeks into the season. You've had a chance to sort of see the rest of the SEC crystallize a little bit. With that in mind, right, knowing that it's UMass, then it's Alabama, and then the schedule goes like this, right? They're at Auburn on October 18th. They're at Vandy on the 25th. They've got A&M in Columbia on November 8th. They've got Mississippi State coming in town on the 15th. They're at OU on the 22nd, and then at Arkansas on the 29th. If we're thinking about what we know about the SEC at this point in time, based on what we've seen through 4 weeks, where is your mindset about what this team is capable of? I mean, obviously, I think that Auburn looks like they might be a little bit better than we thought. They really gave OU a pretty decent game today. Arkansas loses to Memphis today in Memphis. So maybe, Mississippi State, it looks like a better team. Don't know that they've sort of turned the corner of being elite. But, Vanderbilt looks to be a different team, right? OU, I mean, a week ago, John Mateer was the Heisman favorite. Ben Arbuckle at 29 years old or 30 years old is the next head coach at name the bigs. He's, and then today's game, they win, but boy, it wasn't as pretty. Mateer didn't look that great today. Auburn really gave them a push. So I'm curious your thoughts on where you think Mizzou stacks in the SEC now that we are 4 weeks into a season. And again, early in the SEC slate, but just your thoughts on kind of the pecking order of what you've seen so far from SEC schools.
On a high end, dare I say 10 wins?
I mean, you look at this right now, Vic, and if they continue to play the way they're playing, I think every game is you got a lot of toss-ups,
and then I look at it on the flip side, Chris. On a low end, I'm like 8 or 9 wins because that's how close it is. I'm sorry. I watched that Oklahoma Auburn game today. I know it was close, but Chris, Missouri's better than Auburn, and I know
I would agree.
they play at Auburn, but they're better. They're better, and I'm looking at positions. I'm like, they're better in O-line. They're better in D-line. I think they're better at quarterback. Receiver, yeah, you could go with there. Secondary, for the most part, I think they're better. Special teams, I give it to Auburn. Coaching, I'm giving it to Eli. And I'm like, they're better than Auburn. I know they play them on the road. Okay, Oklahoma, we have to go play them on the road. And then you break that down. And I'm like, okay, if there's going to be a loss, I would think it would be at Oklahoma. I see it. Okay, whatever. Just because it's so difficult to play there. But then I'm like, you've got Alabama at home. I'm sorry. Arkansas is no match for Missouri. Mississippi State is no match for Missouri if Missouri's playing like they should. And then you're like, okay, well, now we're starting to add all these wins up for Missouri. And I'm like, we're 9, 10 wins. Yeah, Chris, I'm seeing it for Missouri. I really am from that standpoint because I watched them tonight and I may be different than a lot of people, but I am so excited that they won tonight like they did in the manner they did with as many mistakes as they made and still dominating the line of scrimmage.
I think you said it best just in there, right there, saying if they play up to their potential, right? This is the one thing that could derail them. You've seen how, it's kind of a crazy thing how few turnovers Mizzou has forced this year, and they really haven't turned the ball over a ton, but when they've done it, it's been impactful. And you sit there and you go, boy, if they can clean that up and maybe win the turnover margin in these games, the games aren't even close, any of them at this point in time. And so it is hard to say. And after watching every team, and I've watched every single team on their schedule play multiple games at this point in time. And if Drink can convince these guys every week that they go out there that the world doesn't believe in them, play with that chip on your shoulder, and they go out there and they actually do what we think they're capable of, I don't know that they can't win any of these games and every single one of them. And the truth is, will they? I don't believe they will. But it isn't because I watch Alabama play and say, Mizzou doesn't belong in the same field with them. I don't say that about Texas A&M as well. I actually think Mizzou matches up halfway decently against Texas A&M. Last year was an embarrassment without any question.
Yeah.
That was varsity versus freshman football. But I think this team is a different team than last year's in a lot of ways. The toughness factor is tenfold of what we saw last year. So again, there's nothing I've seen. And the truth of the matter is there's not a team in the country that I've seen play that I would say that they would go and they beat Mizzou's brakes off, on a given night. Mizzou is a very, very well-rounded team who, if they can clean up the mistakes and keep their edge, I don't know how they don't play close games with anyone in the SEC at this point in time. My 2 cents.
Let's think back to the last 6, 7, 8 years, the teams that won national championships. What do they have? From Alabama to Georgia to LSU to the last few years, Ohio State and Michigan. They have dominant offensive lines. Missouri's offensive line looks pretty damn good. They really do. And I'm like, okay, we don't return starters. We don't return All-Americans. We don't return even All-SEC guys. But they're making it work. And I'm like, okay, we're running the football. We've got not one, but two, what I would consider top-notch running backs. Above average running backs. Jamal Roberts, we didn't even talk about him. He had some really impactful runs tonight.
Oh, he closed the game out.
Yes.
They went to the bullpen, and there he is. He's Mariano Rivera throwing the cutter. I mean, he closed that thing out tonight.
I'm literally sitting with a South Carolina fan going, who's this dude? What? You got another one? I'm like, yeah, and he outrushed Hardy against Kansas. You forget about that. Yeah, Hardy had 250 yards last week in the Louisiana game, but I'm like, the week before it was Jamal Roberts who we're talking about. I'm like, we got good. He's like, oh my God. And he's like, Missouri? Are you kidding me? Missouri? Eli Drinkwitz, Missouri? Yeah, Missouri.
Get used to it, bud.
Get used to it. Mizzou who? Yeah, exactly. That's who.
He is former Tiger tight end and broadcaster Vic Faust. I am Chris Pelican. This is the Mizzou Central Postgame Show, and it is brought to you in part by the Legal Buddy app. Life happens fast. 1 minute you're driving home, the next flashing lights are in the rear view. When trouble knocks, answer with confidence. With the Legal Buddy app, you can connect to a local attorney in seconds, whether it's a DWI, car accident, criminal charge, or traffic ticket. Download the Legal Buddy app today at legalbuddyapp.com. Register and use code LEGAL, that's LEGAL, to enter a chance to win a $250 Amazon gift card. Always on your side. That is the Legal Buddy app. So Vic, let's start wrapping this thing up. Your closing thoughts from a 29-20 Mizzou win over South Carolina. They are now 4-0. Who knows where the polls find them tomorrow? But obviously things are good in Mizzou land these days.
They're going to be 5-0 after UMass. They're going to be at least 21, if not 20 in the polls. And the AP, the coaches, they were 22 already. Then you're going to beat UMass. You're going to be 5-0. Some other teams are going to lose. You're going to be in the top 20 when you host Alabama. I don't know where Alabama is going to be after the game against Georgia. I do believe they're going to beat Vanderbilt. I do. I'm sorry. I'm just going to tell you. I think they're going to beat Vandy. So then when you look at this Missouri football team, the main thing is tonight, Chris, all we know after the press conference, all the guys were healthy, right? We didn't hear anything about injuries. So if this Missouri team is healthy, they're only going to get better. And keep in mind, you still have a lot of guys who are new to this offense, who are learning week by week, playing with new guys, including tonight without Caden Green. And even if Caden Green isn't in there, so be it. They're getting better. They're still dominating. They dominated a very good team that was ranked 11th last week. And I am convinced that if Lenore Sellers plays and is healthy, they beat Vandy. Whatever. You guys can say whatever. I still think that they beat Vandy. Sellers was not his best tonight. I get it. But he still threw the football well. From Missouri's standpoint, you've got a team that continues to dominate, that they continue to get better. The offense can still get better, even though they're dominating the line of scrimmage. They didn't even try to throw the ball down the field tonight, which we talked about, which they can do, number one. And then on the defensive side, they gave up some big third downs. They're going to correct those. And those things that they gave up weren't a talent issue. They were more of a positioning issue and a lack of, quote, execution issue, not because of talent. And that's what gets me excited about Missouri, Chris. So, yes, I can't wait. They're 4-0. They're going to be 5-0. And when they come into Alabama, I still think that they're going to be favored against Alabama. I do.
I will wait to see that, and I will believe it when I see it. That is
I know.
Vic Faust, the former Tiger tight end and broadcaster. I am Chris Pelican. We will wrap things up as the Tigers knock off South Carolina 29-20 to improve to 4-0 on the season. They take on UMass next Saturday at Faurot Field at 6:30. So, Vic, very much appreciate the time, as always, and look forward to talking to you again next week, my friend.
MIZ, baby.
ZOU. For Vic Faust, Hannah Barton, Grant Salzman, and Howard Richards, I'm Chris Pelican. This has been the Mizzou Central Postgame Show right here on STL Sports Central. We will see you next week.